Right, what's happening? Doing another video today, and we're looking at the Hinderer Firetac. Um, Actually, have a micarta scale arriving today. It was delayed. It's just shocker. USPS was delayed, and then the holiday yesterday. So should be here today from RC Blade Works. Gonna be pretty sick. So you're not gonna see that orange scale on here much longer. But that's not really relevant to this video. So the point of this video is to actually compare the Firetac Tri-way to the XM18 Tri-way. I've had this one for a few years. This was the first Tri-way model that they came out with. I actually bought this directly from Rick Hinderer himself at Blade HQ's grand opening when they switched down or moved down to their new location. So I've had this knife forever, and the XM18's always to me been like the best Hinderer you could buy. I've tried all the other Hinderer models, and I still always go back to the XM18. Even the skinny, I didn't love the skinny for some reason. It just didn't feel as good in my hand as the full size or the full XM18. So the Firetac I've actually had, this is my second one, and the original one was on Teflon washers, was the original model. I think they really re-released them in 2018. Again, this was Rick's first tactical knife design, folding knife at least, and he released it in 2018. I had the Spanto. There was also a spear point. So the new ones came out with the Tri-way model, and this is the recurve. Now, I generally not a fan of recurve knives. I don't normally buy them because of sharpening. Well, here's the thing. I just sharpen this, as you can see, with that nice polished edge. It's very sharp on my wicked edge without any issues. Now, this knife has a very slight recurve, so don't be afraid to buy the recurve model. Recurves actually have a lot of advantages in cutting. So I would say go for it, especially if you have a good system like a KME, Wicked Edge, you know, something like that. Or you can get, you don't need special stones, at least for the Wicked Edge I didn't. It sharpened up beautifully. It's screaming sharp now. It came not very sharp from the factory, which is the same issue I had with this knife that I've also sharpened on my Wicked Edge. This one's actually been sharpened like 4 times or something like that. I don't know. It's been sharpened a lot. I've used the heck out of this knife. It's one of my biggest users. So what I wanted to do is compare these two knives today, talk about them, how they're similar, how they're different, and which is the best Hinderer to buy. Because if you're in the market for a Hinderer and you don't own one currently, and you're wondering, do I buy the Firetac, do I buy the XM18, I'm going to kind of talk about that in this video. So stay tuned. I'm going to go down to the tabletop now, and we'll continue with the video. All right, guys, so sorry about that. I realized I had my microphone on, but I never plugged it into my phone. So kind of got to do that. So back to the tabletop to talk about these two knives, the XM18 and the Firetac. Now, obviously, if you look at them side by side, they're pretty close in size. If we put them pivot to pivot here, and you'll see that the XM18 is just a tad longer in the handle. Not really a big difference. So if length's an issue, you know, that's what she said. Think about that. The XM18 or the Firetac is just a tad smaller. Thickness-wise, the Firetac is actually quite a bit thinner, and I'll just do some measurements. It's hard to do them side-by-side thickness. So the Firetac handle is under a half an inch. It's 0.45 essentially, whereas the XM18, this is just a standard G10 scale. Oh, let's not get the clip. Is over a half inch, about 0.53. So almost a full. I don't know, 0.1 inches almost difference, or actually 1 inch difference, excuse me, learned some measurements there, as far as the thickness. So this is a thinner knife for sure. So if you like thinner knives, you're going to want to go with the Firetac. Again, so the overall length is a little bit shorter, it's definitely thinner, and the interesting thing too is you get more blade. So when you look at, because there is no choil on the Firetac. Now I like the choil on the XM18, I think it works really well, especially for a bigger knife. But you're getting a lot more blade there, as you can see, side by side on the Firetac. So no choil, a little more cutting edge. The blade shape obviously is different depending on the model. So Hinderer brings out, I mean, obviously this is a Wharncliffe XM18. There's, you name it, blade shape, they've got it. Bowie, actually I need to get a Bowie. I really like the Bowie blade shape. They've got the Spanto, the spear points, sheep's foot, all kinds of different blade shapes. Like I said, Hinderer makes pretty much every blade shape under the sun. Tanto, Spanto, and they also make the harpoon. I mean, there's tons of different shapes. As far as the Firetac is concerned, the only one available now is this recurve. I know they will be doing more blade shapes, probably like a spear point, maybe a spanto again in the near future. I don't think you'll see Warncliffe or some of those other blade shapes. They just wouldn't work with this design, I don't think. But if blade shape's important to you and there's a certain type of blade shape you want, then you might want to go with the XM18. There is more options. But one reason I will tell you to go with the Firetac over the XM18 is it's thinner behind the edge. Now, I did sharpen this, so this is probably going to have skewed this. And I think I measured this on my last video. Let's see here. But it came in under 20 thousandths, which for, or right around 20 thousandths. Yeah, and I have changed that a little bit by sharpening the knife, which is what I was afraid of. Anytime you sharpen the knife. No, it's still coming in just right at 20 thousandths right now. Whereas this XM18 was like 23, I think. Let's see. No, that can't be right. It's thickened up quite a bit. I've sharpened it multiple times. I was getting like 30. I'm doing this off camera because it's really hard to do. Oh yeah, it is. It's gotten thick behind the edge after multiple sharpenings. So I think when I started, it was like 25 thousandths or something. So they typically, and they will thicken as more you sharpen them. Especially if you go to a steep angle. I went to a 70 degree on this. I went 20 degrees on the Firetac. So you're getting a slicier blade with a Firetac. It's going to cut better. The simple edge geometry, thinner behind the edge is going to cut better, period. Now, that's one advantage I would definitely give to the Firetac. And if that's important to you, highly, highly recommend going with the Firetac because it's going to be thinner behind the edge to start. So, thinner behind the edge, thinner in the handle, a little bit shorter in the handle as well. I will tell you one thing where the Firetac absolutely outshines the XM18, which is shocking to me, is in ergonomics. And it shouldn't, now that I think about it, it shouldn't be shocking. It's got a more neutral handle design, kind of similar to like the Sabenza. You know, I just prefer a more neutral handle design. These ergos work good for me. Just regular everyday use, they work fine. But where I really test ergonomics and when I test knives is when I like cut wood, essentially do different types of cuts, the hammer grip, saber grip, you know, reverse pull, that's not the word I'm looking for. Pull cut? Yeah, reverse pull cut. And the ergonomics were way better on the Firetac. I actually noticed by doing those kind of cuts with this, some serious hot spots in the XM18, which I've never really experienced before, but I've really never used this knife in that manner. And I don't know that I ever will use the Firetac in that manner, but it is nice to know that if I am out in the woods and I have a Foley knife on me and I need to do some woodworking tasks, or I need to, you know, create some feather sticks for a fire, or, you know, some sort of wood processing, that the ergonomics, you know, and any kind of really hard use stuff, I think the Firetac's going to be a better choice. It has better ergonomics because it doesn't have these finger grooves. And it's a little thinner in the handle. And I noticed with this thicker handle, I thought it would be better. It's actually it makes it a little worse when you're in this kind of grip, and the hammer grip specifically. But really where it gets you, I think, is right here with this fingered choil. And then this flipper tab. See the flipper tab on the XM18s? I could never do a 3-inch because this flipper tab kind of comes down like this, and this caused an issue with my thumb. Right there, it hits the jimping. If I choke up on this one, and that creates a hot spot. Now, the nice thing about the XM18, it's a little bit bigger handle. I can choke back and be fine and not have that hot spot, but you don't have that issue at all in the Firetac. So you can really get up in there and really utilize the more forward grip, have a little bit more control, and it has just better ergonomics. And that's actually a big deal. And, it should be to anyone that actually uses their knives. Ergonomics should be something really important, and Hinderers are looked at as a hard use tool, right? So you're going to want something that has a little bit better ergos, so you're not going to wear out your hand if you're doing some harder tasks. So I would definitely give the advantage to the Firetac there as well. To me, the only advantage the XM18 really even has over the Firetac at this point is the fact that it has more accessories available. Now that sounds funny, but Hinderers are built, their motto is make it yours, right? And you have more scale options, you have more filler options, filler tabs. A lot of these are interchangeable, like the clips and filler tabs actually are interchangeable. But you have just more options, like for like the nuts and the hardware and such on the XM18. I've got the dog paws on here. you don't have those options yet for the Firetac. I don't know if Rick plans on doing those options for the Firetac or not, but if you like to customize things and you want that kind of customization, then the XM18 would definitely be your better choice. Price-wise, they're exactly the same. $425 standard. Hinderer has kept his price the same for, I can't even tell you how many years now. And it doesn't matter what model it is, you're paying that exact same price. So he has that same pricing model. Look, this is my cost on all my knives. This is what I charge. I should say all my folding knives. Because I know some of the slip joints are a little cheaper, and so are the fixed blades. But, you know, overall, like, the price-wise, you're going to be in the same boat. So just some things to consider, guys. I would recommend, if you're new to Hinderers and you're looking for your first, I'd recommend going with the Firetac, especially now with the Tri-way pivot. Now, the Tri-way pivot is somewhat controversial right now in the knife community. This one's on bearings, and the action is on par with any knife I've ever had for action. Just so smooth. I haven't oiled it, haven't done anything to it, haven't even taken it apart. This is out of the box. It's fantastic. Now, it does come with the phosphorus bronze washers as well as Teflon washers. Where you're going to possibly run into some issues is stacking tolerances with using the washers, because it's I think designed, they all come on bearings, so it's designed for bearings. Now he does provide these little washers that go where the bearing pockets are, and then you know, it shouldn't be an issue, but people have had some minor issues, noticed some, maybe the centering's not good, the blade play. So what I'll do, actually, I will actually, when I install my car to scale, I'm going to throw on the phosphorus bronze washers just to see how the action is and to see if I experience any of those stacking tolerances issues myself. I don't think most people are going to notice them. Maybe if you're really hard using your knives, you might. But for the most part, I don't think the general public is going to notice that issue. And I personally think the bearings are great. The action is fantastic. I can see why people don't like bearings for hard use things, getting things in the pivot. It's harder to clean out than the washers, but I don't, honestly, I use my knives a lot, but I don't necessarily hard use them that hard to notice that, but you might, so something to consider. But you have the same pivot here on both knives. So, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's a good comparison for you. Let me know your comments down in the comments below, and we will see you in the next video.